Hey guys, this is my second live review video that I've ever done, and it's going to be on the final show of Smackdown Live before the Money in the Bank Pay Per View. The show last night was really, really good. The review that I posted of my live reactions to it is on my YouTube channel right now, and it's not the full show, it's the last almost 50 minutes. Because I was trying to record the full show on my camera, but the battery died and I had to buy a new battery. So that's why I'm using my phone right now. But when I do my live reaction and when I film my live reaction on Sunday for Money in the Bank Pay Per View, I'll be using my camera again. So this is the one time only that I'm using my phone. Hopefully. Okay, enough with random chatter. Okay, let's just get started here. The opening segment had Paige in the ring with the four ladies who are going to be competing against Raw's four ladies for the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. So Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Lana, and Naomi were all in the ring for this. They each started talking about why they were gonna win and everything. It was pretty cool, but the favorite for me of this segment was Becky Lynch. 'Cause she kept talking about how she was tired of saying I was, and how she said it was time to start saying I am, and just how she said that she was going to be Miss Money in the Bank, and that she was going to go through everyone she had to, and that she didn't need luck. That it was just going to happen, and that she would do anything it took, even if it meant going through her best friend. And we all know Charlotte Flair is her BFF. And she said she was going to win, even if it meant going through her. And then, this was my favorite part though, she sarcastically asked Charlotte how her arm was, considering she beat her the week before and her arm got hurt during the fight. That was a great quip. I love that. But it started getting really interesting when the Iconics interrupted. And for me, I'm just like, why are you guys even out here? You're not part of the match. So what are you doing? And they came out and they started mocking the girls. They impersonated Naomi's dancing. They went after Charlotte. They made fun of Lana, and they made fun of Becky Lynch. They made fun of all of them. And they said that it was a mistake that they weren't in the Money in the Bank ladder match because they thought they should have been in it. And then Absolution came out. And they just put it very simply that they were upset at Paige because they said that Paige had the wrong four ladies in the ring. So they're acknowledging the Iconics while also bringing themselves in, saying that they should have been in it. Becky then starts this thing where she's like, girls, do you know what I'm thinking? And they're all like, yep. And she starts this like a 5, 6, 7, and 8 thing, counting down, and then they went out and just start fighting. I thought that was like one of the funniest things I've seen in a while. At least for that. I just started recently watching Smackdown Live again. So that was one of the best things I've seen in a while. Then they just started fighting outside the ring with Iconics and Absolution, and refs came out to try to stop them and stuff. That opening segment, I loved it so incredibly much. It was great. I enjoyed every minute of that. I loved it. It was fun. I enjoyed it. And so obviously Paige made a match for them to fight for Becky Lynch, Lana, Charlotte Flair, and Naomi to fight against the Iconics and Absolution later on the night. But the next thing was Daniel Bryan versus Shelton Benjamin. Now they showed video of like when they had that yes movement in the ring a few years back, and then it showed a video that he sent on Twitter. He posted on Twitter as a response to Big Cass's comments that he made last week on Smackdown Live. And he said that he was going to break Big Cass's leg, or that he wanted to break Big Cass's leg. And he said, "You can't teach how to survive that," which I thought was a great quip, a great line. Daniel was furious in this video, and I just loved his passion, his anger, everything about it was just great. So they do the match, and also before they showed that clip, Daniel was like jumping rope backstage, like I guess like trying to hype himself up for the match, like warming up by jumping rope, which I just like that, showing his energy and how he was ready to go. So then the match was great. I loved it. It started off with Daniel, and then things started going wrong when Shelton pushed him off the ring apron, and he landed on the outside onto his left knee, so he was in pain. But then Shelton Benjamin went out with him and took his leg and slammed it onto the announce table, which caused Daniel a tremendous amount of pain. And so he kept working on his leg, and during the commercial break, they had the split screen thing going. So even though the commercial was going on, we were also able to see the match, and it showed Shelton Benjamin put Daniel Bryan in a half crab with his injured leg up, and Daniel is in so much pain and is trying so hard to hang on, and I kept thinking he was going to tap because I didn't know how much longer his knee could withstand that move, because he was in so much pain. But somehow, by the time the commercial ended, he was still in that move, and I'm like, dude, you gotta be tortured right now. And so he grabbed the rope, they continued. Daniel tried to get offense, but every time he did, he'd tweak his knee and it would not go well. But finally, he tried to put Shelton Benjamin in his yes lock, but Shelton reversed it and went into another half crab, which Daniel then reversed into, a heel hook, which Shelton could not handle and tapped out. So Daniel Bryan won, and it was a great moment for him, and I was happy. I loved the match. So far, the show is starting off on a great note. It's going really well, and I'm enjoying everything so far. Now here's the backstage segment. Paige was walking through the hall, and she just says, "Hi there," and Asuka is in the back. I'm always smiling. I love Asuka. When Asuka walks up to her, Paige starts to say something like, "What can I do for you?" But Asuka put her hand up to stop her. And Asuka clearly says, "I want Carmella tonight." She does not want to wait till Money in the Bank. She is furious over the fact that Carmella jumped her, or hit her from behind with the belt last week. She is furious. She wants revenge. And Paige is like, "I know she hit you from behind last week, and you want to get back at her, but I can't do that because, their match is on Sunday, so it's like, you can't fight her right now." Asuka, she's still smiling, but you could tell she was not very happy with that. But Paige immediately said, "How about we change the 8-girl tag to a 10-girl tag?" It's like, "Is that good for you?" Asuka, very happy, says, "Good for me, bad for Carmella," and then just walks away. And Paige is like, "Good for you, bad for Carmella. Okay, got it. Great." But then you hear Miz making weird noises, and she's just like, "What are you doing?" He keeps going, and finally she just says again, "What are you doing?" And he is practicing being a ref, which he says is because he's auditioning for a movie called Rough, Rough, Ref. where he was going to be a mentor at WrestleMania as a ref, and he was practicing his acting. Paige knew that all he was trying to do was be able to officiate Rusev and Samoa Joe's match, which she thought he was just doing that so he could, like, jump them or get a leg up on them before their match, before their Money in the Bank ladder match. And he assures her, that's not what I'm doing. I just want to be able to get some practice in there because I'm a method actor. And so finally she relents and it's just like, okay, fine, I'll give you can be the special guest ref, whatever. Like, and so that was cool. Corey Graves, I don't know if he's joking or if he's serious, but he's immediately like, wow, it seems like the rough ref is going to be a hit. Tom is in the middle of Corey and Saxton just sitting there like, no. And then Byron's like, this isn't a real thing. Like, it's not a real movie. But Corey's like, you just haven't seen it yet. And I'm thinking, yeah, no one's seen it yet because it doesn't exist. It's like, you don't get that wasn't real, do you? Because he keeps saying throughout the night, this movie's going to be great. And I'm like, if you're kidding, it's funny. If you're not, man, wow. Okay. So anyway, that was just, I loved that. Okay, the next thing is they showed previews for this before Paige was backstage with Asuka and Miz, but Jerry the King Lawler made a special guest appearance so he could interview AJ about what happened last week at the contract signing. Now, AJ last week slapped Shinsuke during the contract signing because Shinsuke kept saying, like, this pen is broken, this pen is out of ink. He just would not sign the contract with anyone else's pen. And AJ was getting fed up. Finally, he stood up and he was like, stand up and come on, act like a man. Let's just do this. He was sick of the games. Finally, he slapped him and walked away. So Jerry asked him about it, and AJ just said, he pushed me and I lost my cool. Again. And he said, and I think I need to apologize. And Jerry's like, you're going to apologize to Shinsuke? And at first, AJ's like, yeah, I'm going to apologize. And I'm just like, for what? I'm like, Shinsuke's been doing nothing but low-blowing you and provoking you this whole time. So, like, why would you have to apologize? But then he said, I'm going to apologize because I didn't knock his head off when I had the chance. And Jerry and everyone is just so happy, so proud of this. And I'm also thinking, like, yeah, that makes more sense. So it ends with him promising that he's going to be the last man standing in his and Shinsuke's match. So far, I am liking the whole show. Everything is like just, I'm all for it. I'm all for everything right now. I love it. And the next is Rusev versus Samoa Joe. I was really looking forward to this match because I wanted to see how Miz would do as a special guest ref. Like, I want to know, is it going to be impartial or is he going to do whatever he wants? Because before the match, they showed him backstage talking with one of the regular officials, like, asking for pointers on what to do, and he's like, they can't touch me, right? But then he said to the ref, but I can touch them whenever I want, right? And the ref's like, there are boundaries here. But Miz was, like, trying to be like, yeah, but... So I was starting to think, like, oh my god, what are you going to do? And I was, like, nervous that he was just going to try something, you know? Like, that he was going to, like, do something Miz-like. So I didn't know he'd be impartial, but as the match was going, he was officiating normally. He was on top of them every time one of them was doing something wrong, holding on to the ropes or whatever. He was doing the countouts. He was doing everything normally. He was doing normal pinfalls, like he wasn't going too fast, too slow. I was impressed with him. Also, Samoa Joe and Rusev fighting. Like, Rusev, I thought Samoa Joe would have a leg up on him, but Samoa Joe fought too, and Samoa Joe, wow. Rusev really had a leg up on him as well, and they were really just going at it, and they were doing great, and Miz was officiating normally, which had me really impressed. And then it gets to a point where Samoa Joe has Rusev in his Kimura lock. And but as that's happening, Aiden English is on the ramp, on the ring apron. And so Miz goes over, is like telling him to get off or all that, like, you can't be up here. And he's like arguing with him, trying to get him to move. Well, meanwhile, Rusev gets out of the hold, knocks him to the side, goes over to the other side turnbuckle just to rest for a minute. Samoa Joe comes through, runs, tries to, I guess, splash on him or something, but Rusev moves and Miz gets hit. So he's kind of doubled over in pain. Samoa Joe does another move, tries to pin Rusev, but Miz is still facing the other way. Samoa Joe just starts yelling at him and is like, come on, what are you doing? Like, we gotta pin this. And Miz gets mad at Samoa Joe, thinking that what happened at the turnbuckle was intentional, not realizing that it was an accident. He's like, I'm the ref, you're not supposed to touch me, and I'm watching this, and I'm just like, he didn't mean to, man. Like, chill out. Like, this was an accident, okay? But he was so mad, he would start pointing at Samoa Joe, and Samoa Joe just grabbed his hand and was, like, painfully, like, squeezing it. And Miz is starting to double over, like, again, like, in pain with his hand. And Rusev, really liking this distraction, nails Samoa Joe with a kick to the side of the face. So I thought Miz would try for, like, a quick pin or something. I thought he would try to do a fast count, since he was mad at Samoa Joe. But no, he was like 1, 2, 3, and normal count, and Rusev wins clean. And I'm thinking, like, wow, he's actually done normal this entire match. Like, I'm proud of this guy. Rusev, of course, he didn't raise Rusev's hand because as soon as the match was over, he went out of the ring, like, trying to recover his hand. So Rusev starts to climb a ladder, to symbolize, like, I'm gonna win this briefcase. But Miz suddenly gets in the ring, takes him off the ladder, and gives him the skull-crushing finale. Then the Miz goes up onto the ladder, grabs the briefcase, comes back down, and starts yelling at the commentators. For some reason. He's holding it up. He's, like, yelling at the commentators, telling them that he's going to win it. And then he just slams it down in front of Byron Saxton. It's just like, look in there. Look at the contract. He opens it, but he doesn't see because the contract is facing, the briefcase is facing the commentators. I can't remember if it was Brian Saxton or Tom Phillips, but one of them looks inside and they're like, it's full of pancakes. And he's like, taking out all the pancakes, so happy. Miz, he turns the box around, he turns the briefcase around, he's throwing out all these pancakes. Then he gets on his knees with pancakes in his hand, he's squeezing them, he's like, no, die. He was like having this really weird thing, and I'm like, I'm loving it. That was the weirdest face. I'm sorry. This is unedited, so, But that was funny to me. I love this. So far, this whole show, I am just loving it. I'm loving every minute of this, man. Like, I'm just loving every minute of this. Next, it's time for Jeff Hardy versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, they've never fought before, so this was a dream match. Jeff comes down, he's Jeff, he's going to everyone, he's really sweet. Shinsuke does his music, and which, by the way, just makes me flinch because of just the flashing lights and stuff. But they get in the ring, they start doing lockups. Shinsuke has Jeff in the corner, and then he does that weird thing where, he just lays his head on your chest and starts doing the weird movements. Jeff is just looking down at him like, what are you doing? Shinsuke backs away for a second. Jeff, not amused, just starts laying into him. He's pulling him into every turnbuckle, just going. He's got a majority of offense going. But at the same time, somewhere, I don't know what happened, but he, hurt either his right knee or his lower back or something got hurt. And so he was just limping, having a terrible time. At one point, he did a move, and when he fell, or when it connected, he was in, so much pain. He did a swanton, I think, and he was just, shaking. He was in so much pain, and he kept, doing this with his hand, so I didn't know what that meant. I thought that was, dangerous things. Are you alright? But he did really good with the match. Shinsuke had his moments, too, where, Jeff tried to go up for a second swanton, but hesitated because of his knee, so Shinsuke started kicking the rope, whatever, like that. But Jeff started to gain momentum again, and so when Shinsuke thought the ref had his back turned, he nailed Jeff with a low blow. But the ref turned around just in time to see it. Was like, what are you doing? He called for a disqualification bell, so Jeff wins by disqualification. Jeff is in pain, not having a clue what just happened, or why he just got low blowed. Shinsuke goes into the corner and is edging him to come on, edging him to get up. Jeff gets to his knees and whacks him in the head. He gets him with his hold on, sorry, forget the name. His Kinshasa. He hits him with that. Jeff is down, out, and then Shinsuke did that weird count to 10 thing, signal to AJ Styles. Of course gets to 10 because Jeff is first off, out cold, starts to come to toward the end, but he's not going to get it because he has no clue what's going on. But that, I love the match. I was just infuriated with the ending because I love Jeff. I liked Shinsuke, but this character is starting to bug the heck out of me. It's just, I don't know. Okay. The next thing is Renee interviews Carmella backstage. Carmella does a normal thing where she was trying to take selfies for her Instagram or whatever, and she wasn't happy that Renee kind of got in the way. But she just does a normal thing of Asuka wanted me tonight, but we have a match Sunday, so I'm fighting in this surprise tag match right now. It's but I'm ready for her. She's not ready for me. Going that same thing. Next is Big Cass backstage. I think her name is Charlie. Was going to try to interview him, but he's it's okay, I got this. And he said he was at a fair, that he did an appearance there, that he smiled and all that stuff. But he wanted to take the the Smackdown roster to the fair. But he brought back this height chart thing, that board they have. And he's but Daniel Bryan doesn't meet the height requirements. And for me, I'm when are you gonna just quit doing that? That joke is getting old. Can you just, stop doing that, maybe? That was just, it was getting old for me. I couldn't, it's running its course with me on that one. That's just getting old. And then, I'm skipping past the Special Olympics thing again. And lastly, it's the main event. It's Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Lana, Naomi, and Asuka versus Carmella, the Iconics, and Absolution. Now it starts with Lana and Sonya Deville. They fight. Then Becky's in there, and then Becky tags in Charlotte Flair. And everyone's going back and forth. There's a lot of commercials in between, too, so there are, things obviously you don't see. I think Naomi had to be in during one of the commercials at some point. Hopefully. I hope so. But finally, Asuka gets in, and she finally gets well, she doesn't get a piece of Carmella yet. She goes after Mandy Rose, hits some things. There's a suplex. She has Mandy in the Oscar lock, but then the Iconics break it up. So Charlotte gets rid of them with a moonsault off the top turnbuckle. Mandy Rose tags in Carmella, but I guess, actually right before that, Mandy Rose tagged in Carmella, but I guess Asuka didn't see that because as Mandy, she threw out Mandy, but then she also threw out Carmella, and then she just kind of like stared at them from inside the ring, and for me, I'm just like, did you know they just made a tag? Because she's supposed to be in there. Like, but then after that went the moonsault, then Mandy came back in, and Asuka nailed her with a kick, but she turned right into a kick from Carmella, who tried to go for a cover. It was hard to tell whether Asuka was going to kick out or not, but whatever that was going to be, Lana broke up the pin. Asuka started to get up, and Carmella went to do another kick after throwing out Lana and seeing Asuka starting to get up. She tried to go for another kick. This time Asuka slaps her foot away, screams, tries to kick Carmella, but Carmella ducks and tries to go for a roll-up. Asuka gets out of it, immediately transitioned to the Asuka lock, and within not even 2 seconds, Carmella just immediately starts tapping. And so I was just like, yeah, you were real ready for her. You you really put a lot into that one. And the match ends with, first Naomi runs in the ring, her and Asuka hug, and then everyone is having their hand raised, they're all celebrating, then they have this group hug, and then while Asuka is staring at Carmella, who's walking up the ramp at this point, it's like Charlotte Flair, Lana, Becky Lynch, and Naomi are all just, they're in this like square circle thing, just like staring at her. Asuka realizes this, and she's just smiling, she's all confident, and then the four of them look up at the briefcase, and then Asuka, immediately understanding what's going on, is just like, okay. She's just smiling, she's looking at all of them, she's nodding, like, just telling them, like, I'm ready for whichever one of you guys, because they know most likely she can win she can win the belt, and if she wins the belt, and one of them win the briefcase, they're going to want to go after her, and she's ready for that, and she let them know, and the show went off the air with her just nodding, ready for anything, and that was the whole show. Now, I didn't find any dull moments in the show whatsoever. Like, I know some people might not have liked it or whatever, but I really enjoyed this episode. And I cannot wait to see what happens at Money in the Bank. A few predictions I can make for Money in the Bank is I definitely think that Asuka is going to walk out with the championship because it's Asuka. And she hasn't been pinned or submitted since WrestleMania. I mean, sure, like the first match at Smackdown Live didn't go very well, but Becky Lynch was the one who got pinned. Asuka herself has not gone pinned or submitted since. And she had a few close calls, especially last week, but she pulled through and she won. And so I honestly think the same thing is going to happen. And I honestly think she's going to win because Carmella's not going to have any help. She's going to be on her own. And so she's going to have to pull out all the stops. And I say if she slaps Asuka, it's over. Because Carmella, every time she gets offense, she likes to like just start slapping her. And slapping Asuka is like the biggest mistake you can make. It's like, why would you do that? You want to win. Don't slap her if you want to win. It's kind of obvious. Basically, just don't make her mad. Just don't do that. So I think she's walking away with the championship. I think Jeff is going to keep his title. And when it comes to AJ and Shinsuke, I'm not sure who's going to win. Because last time they were in a last man standing match, neither of them kicked out. I mean, neither of them stood up. So I'm not really sure how that's going to go. I'm not really sure about how everything is going to pan out, but I think when it comes to the women's Money in the Bank match, I think that it might actually be, I think either Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, or Natalia is going to get it. Natalia, if she can be in the match, I don't know. After Monday night, I don't know if she's going to be in the match just because her knee is banged up. So I don't know if she's going to be able to do it. But if she is, I'm rooting for them. Like, I can't wait to see how everything pans out. I think Braun might win the Money in the Bank thing. But again, I'm not sure. What I'm really anxious to see, though, is which one of the New Day members is it going to be? Which one of them is going to be in the Money in the Bank ladder match? I wish they would just told us, but we'll find out on Sunday. And so those are my initial thoughts on Money in the Bank. I haven't watched Raw or SmackDown in a long time, and this is my second time reviewing it. And the video you saw was the first time I've ever reacted live to it. So, and I'm doing this weekly. Like, I'm doing this every week. Like, every Monday, I'm filming a live reaction video. And then I film my live review, which, like this, unedited, just talking about the show, using notes to help me remember stuff. And then and I put out the review that day, and then later on in the evening, I watched the full show, the full Smackdown live show, and then I put that online the same night, hopefully the same night, and I film the live review video on Wednesdays. And whenever there's a pay-per-view, there will be 2 videos on Monday where you get the live review of the pay-per-view, and then the Monday Night Raw live reaction. So, I'm just planning on doing this every week, not just so I can stay caught up with what's going on in the Raw world, but also because I want to. It saves a lot of trouble with editing. So, obviously, sometimes I'm, doing multiple takes, because it's unedited, so I keep stopping and recording again and stuff, but this is unedited. And so, it's just going up like this, blunders and all. And I will get used to this, and will be better at this as the weeks go on. So until I get the groove in this, just bear with me. But, yeah, I hope you enjoy this live review. I mean, if you even watch it or comment, I guess, what you like or didn't like about the show. Same old thing. And I'm trying to decide whether, I think I decided I am going to watch the kickoff show too, and just have my reaction to that, as well as everything else. And I will, I'm going to do that. And there's nothing else to say. Random silences. I will see you Sunday for my live reaction of Money in the Bank. So, see ya.